Wait for some more people to get up in here. Wait for a couple of more heads to jump in. Hey, Biddy. I'm doing great. Doing real good. Um, Last day, I fly back to Maryland in the morning. The Jaded One. And y'all know I don't typically I don't typically live stream on this channel. Um, what up, Kermit? Thank you, Jaded. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad. A couple of things I learned on this trip. Really, this whole experience. Um, I am no stranger to business. I have ran at least two other businesses besides this. Um, my record label, and I helped run our family business, Killam Collectibles. So I'm no stranger to business. But I have to say, um, with Majestic Comics, it just feels different. Oh, hell yeah, bro. I did. I mean, listen, I had my fair share of frustrating moments in the beginning. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. Um, because, see, you know, this is a huge convention spread out over 5 hotels. And the amount of people that were in here this week is crazy. And I've been to other Comic Cons before, but nothing like this. And definitely not as someone who is running a business and not just here being frivolous, enjoying the cosplayers, eating good food, meeting good people. A little different this time because I did all of that, but it had to be restrained. I had to restrain myself because I had to keep reminding myself, you're here for business. And yeah, exactly, Jaded. Um, a lot of this I'm going to recap on the Black Culture Geek show this Saturday. But just wanted to give you guys like a little, um, how should I put this? A little bit of insight into some of the things I learned, some of the experiences I had here. Um, it's difficult starting a new business. It just is. A lot of things you got to worry about. A lot of things you got to figure out, particularly in this particular space because I've been a creative for 40 plus years. And I have generated income from being a creative probably in the last 12. You know what I'm saying? And that's from music and now the comic book, right? So in this particular space, you have to be worried about somebody snatching your IP, So you have to make sure your trademarks is on point, and you got to make sure that your copyright is on point, and you got to make sure you're not infringing on somebody else's copyright or somebody else's trademarks. A lot of stuff that goes with that. And me not being a lawyer, right? It required for the ownership of Majestic Comics to, you know, get a lawyer to facilitate a lot of that stuff. And that was important. He said, as the light from the All Father shines through, bro. It's hilarious. But once we did all of that and got all that together, the other thing is trying to find a way to actually make it work. Because comic books are not all that profitable these days. I know what we see. What we see is comic book movies doing crazy numbers. The themes from comic books have become like pop culture friendly now. And it gives off the impression that that's just like a really hot thing to be into. But the truth is, starting a new company in that environment is very, very difficult because you got major companies out here that have cornered the market in a lot of shit. And you just got to figure out where you and your company, your story, your IP fits in with that whole environment, that landscape. And that's something we had to do. And I think our story does a really good job of navigating in between what everybody else is doing and the more popular companies are doing and all of that, to do our own thing while still being inspired by the people that came before us, right? Because I was inspired by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Jim Starlin, Steve Ditko, Dwayne McDuffie, especially Dwayne McDuffie. I was inspired by them, right? So it's a balance you gotta kind of have. But most indie companies, from my understanding, they don't start off in a big ass, probably the biggest convention of comic book and geek culture on the East Coast. No, they start at little smaller events, right? And they work their way up to that. We were fortunate enough to kind of jump the line and wound up here, right? And it's like, imagine you just learned to swim. You just kind of got an understanding of the physical mechanics and everything you had to do of swimming. And then someone puts you in a boat, goes way out in the middle of the ocean, and just dumps you in it. Swim. Right? So yeah, you know the mechanics, but it's still new to you. And it's a new environment, so the pressure is on, right? It's not like the kiddie pool anymore. You don't have to worry about sharks in the kiddie pool. You don't have to worry about that, right? That's kind of what it felt like with this. We came here and man, I looked at the size of the convention area, 5 hotels with things happening on multiple floors and multiple ballrooms and all of that. And it was crazy. And then the amount of people, it was crazy. So basically what we had, where our table was at was not optimal for what we wanted to do, right? What we really wanted was to have a table. We thought the table was going to be someplace where we got a lot of foot traffic, people coming walking by, and we would be out there amongst the other indie and pro sharks, right? They're out there grabbing attention. They're out there being charismatic and personable and getting people over to their tables. They're out there doing the thing. And that's not kind of where our table was located. So Graydon and I, we took the bull by the horns, man. The bull by the horns. And we grabbed books that we had. You dig? We grabbed the books. We put them in a bag. He had his bag. I had my bag. Had my card reader. And we roamed. We roamed all throughout the convention. Chatting up cosplayers. Exactly, Jaded. Exactly. Chatting up cosplayers. other people that came to the event, getting to know them, laughing with them, and at the same time introducing them to the brand. And these shirts sold about as many books as our charisma did, right? Because people would see these shirts and they would go, "Whoa, hey, what's that?" That's an opening. That's an opening. So we took it. Every time we took it. And the vast majority of those times, people responded positively and purchased books. Some people purchased 2 books. If you look right now on Graydon Square's Facebook page, right? He has pictures, his Instagram, he has pictures of people holding the book, purchased the book, happy to purchase it. We had a demo copy that was already open and not in the package, so people could look through the pages, so they could see the artwork, see this was a serious, like a attempt at making an authentic comic book, right? So then we did a presentation, and we kind of killed it. Right? We kind of killed the presentation. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see a picture. That's exactly it, Jada. I use that exact same reference, the kind of like Def Jam selling out their trunks back in the day. Yeah, that's pretty much what we did. We went old school hip hop style, old school indie artist style, and went out there to the people. Because if there's any place that's going to be receptive to this, it's going to be at a Comic-Con, a Dragon Con, an Awesome Con, name a con, right? And it was amazing to see, bro. It was amazing to see. We got a lot of positive feedback. We made a lot of connections with people that's going to help push this IP forward. And I got a lot of work ahead of me when I head back home. And ordinarily, what I probably would do is decompress, process. But I have so many ideas up here that I got to get them out because I don't want to waste them. And that is exactly what it used to be with me when it came to the music. Just as soon as I get the idea, put it down. No matter what else I'm doing, put it down. I appreciate you, Jaded. So that's what it is with this. When I get home, we're going to have a meeting with everybody that's under the Majestic staff to talk about the direction we need to go in now to properly take advantage of all of the good stuff that happened this week. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to have that good conversation. I got a bunch of ideas for streamlining operations and what we should be prioritizing next. And one thing's for sure, 2 things for certain. We are going to come back here. May not be under the same circumstances, but we're definitely going to come back here. But we're also going to do other Comic-Cons across the country. I don't know if we're going to do another one this year. This will probably be the one and done for this year, unless something crazy happens. We still have our priorities with Majestic Comics and its operations as far as putting out this next issue. This next issue is crazy. And it just needs to be finished. There are things that still need to be done with that. So we need to expedite that and get that together. And there's going to be another Kickstarter this year. And I hope I can get the same, if not more support as we got for the first one, because people showed up and showed out for us with that first Kickstarter. They really did. And I'm still in the process of fulfilling all of the obligations that we incurred from the Kickstarter. When I get back home, that's the other thing too. When I get home, anybody that purchased books last week, as soon as I get home, I'll make sure I got all the right packaging materials and I'm sending those out. And I want to thank all of you for your support, because not only were we selling books here, but we were also selling books on our website, majesticcomics.com. So like I said, it felt really good to have people get their hands on a book, a story that is an ongoing story. But this first issue is something that we like the story in general we worked on for a long time, but this first issue, deciding what the cutoff point was going to be for this first issue is amazing. It was amazing, amazing experience. But it was long. It was long. But we finally got it, right? And for it to be now in existence and for people to be reading it, I said one time before that my love of hip hop actually started right before I was 13. But I didn't start engaging in it until I was 13. And that's a lot of years. I'm 53 now. That's a lot of years. But my love of comic books predates the love of hip hop. And I've always wanted to make a comic book, but had no way of knowing how or how I was ever going to be able to do that. The fact that I have now, with the help of my partners, that fact there is a huge box on my checklist of things. And with well, I'm not even going to use the word luck. I'm just going to say it. With what I'm willing to do as far as work, as far as creativity, to get this further along, I am certain that at some points in life, even beyond just this first run, we will be able to inspire other people. That's my goal, to inspire other people. Exactly, Jaded. Exactly. It's just the beginning for real. All that work, all that time, and making sure everything was right, and paperwork was right, and the business stuff was right, and all of that. It's still just the beginning, because this is the first book in a long series. And I'm looking forward to bringing the rest of that story to all of you. And who knows where it can go from there. You know, Graydon and Joseph and I, we talk about the potential of what we have, because we are very well aware of what we have, and where it could go from here. As far as I'm concerned, sky's the limit on that, right? Sky's the limit. We just got to keep grinding, keep working, and exposing the comic book, the IP, and the brand to as many people as we possibly can. And if we do that, when we do that effectively, we will see results that even dwarf what we saw this week. But that's really all I wanted to go in on. I have specific things that I want to talk about, experiences that I had here. But I think I'm going to wait until Saturday on our podcast to talk about those things. And I'm thinking I might start streaming more here, just offhandedly, every so often when the thought grabs me to do so. If I got something I want to say to people, because this wasn't half bad. I mean, I didn't get many people here, but that's really not the point. The people that were here, I appreciate your attention. I appreciate all of you, you know, and all of you that have supported me for years and didn't walk away, went out and bought my albums that are now supporting the comic book. You guys make what I do possible. You continue to make me understand that I can do it. You know, you show me that I can do it all the time. And it's one of these things where when you create something and it come from here, you can be proud of it all day. But when you put it out and distribute it to people and they receive it and they positively accept it, That's a whole different level of fulfillment. So like I said, I appreciate y'all, all of y'all, and I'm gonna talk to y'all later.